Oh yeah, much better for me.
Okay, good. That's what this is about. Nothing having to do with me.
My my
So
Matisse is here.
awesome.
I wore my
Um,
One of my Joni shirts just for you here.
oh, I love that. That's awesome. I wore since I'm guessing you're
Right.
in Minnesota, so I went with Prince,
I almost wore my Prince shirt. I should
Awesome.
change.
That was going to be my first question off the top, just local to you, now living in Minnesota. But did you ever have a chance to go to Paisley Park and
I
see that whole
did.
thing? Yeah.
Actually, my good friend Danielle Hartman was visiting from Indianapolis, and we went down to the cities, and that's what they call them, the cities. And we went to Minneapolis, and we went to Paisley Park. It was really cool. I've never considered myself much of a Prince fan. I mean, I like his music, but I'm not like an Uber fan.
Uh,
But and she's kind of the same way. But we thought, we need to do this. We're here. And we were so glad we did. It was really cool. Really cool. Have you
uh,
been there?
I have not. I need to venture up there.
Yeah,
For
you would
folks
love it.
that would like to go, do you have any recommendations of how to prepare?
For Paisley Park?
Yeah, yeah,
Not really. There are certain places in what I didn't realize was that's his home.
yeah.
And while he was living there, he actually was preparing it to be a museum. He knew it was going to be a museum.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
there are certain places in the museum you can visit, and there are certain places you can't because it's a private home. It was his private home.
yeah,
And so you can go in the places mostly where he would entertain visitors. It's a really interesting place. He has a nightclub in there where he
yeah.
would have visitors, and he would just show up like at 3 in the morning and do a set like
Wow.
the
Yeah.
stage. And it's really cool. You get to see a lot of his personal effects and a lot of his costumes. What shocked me the most was how tiny he was.
Yeah.
His waist was like 18 inches. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's absolutely worth the trip. It's worth a visit if you're in Minneapolis. Yeah.
Prince might be the only man that can wear high heels and still steal your girl. That's how much game he has.
And eyeliner, heavy makeup. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and hairspray. Oh,
Um, you are today's guest, episode number 135 on JBK on Air. We are featuring Dianna Pannell. Am I saying that correctly?
yes.
All right, awesome. I know her as Miss Gillespie, my elementary school music teacher. Thank you so much for joining us to document that
Pleasure.
part of the story.
Yeah.
Um, so tell me, what kind of got you started with the teaching profession?
Well, I started out as a piano major at Indiana University, Bloomington, and I was very resistant to teaching. In fact, I wrote a little essay in high school on why it would be the worst job in the world to be an elementary music teacher, just because my own experience was so terrible. In fact, I led an all class revolt against our music teacher. I'm ashamed to say, I think it was about fifth grade, and we were singing out of textbooks, and I was so put off by that. I just thought that was so. The songs we were singing were like watered down Beatles songs and stuff, and I was just so insulted by that as a kid. And so I decided that the class would, when the teacher's back was turned, we would take our textbooks and we would drop them all at the same time on the floor because we were sitting in desks. And so when we did it, we enacted the plan and scared the teacher to death. And she turned around and she ran out of the room and she quit that day.
Whoa. Okay, man.
It was all my fault. Well, partly my fault. Anyway, the irony of that is, well, I'm not going to tell you the rest of the story because I ran into that lady later when I was a music teacher.
Oh no.
Anyway, I
Oh
felt
man.
really bad about it. I don't think she remembered or didn't know that I was the one that did it. Anyway, she went back to teaching years later. In fact, she had gotten some decent training in Orff and a little bit of Kodai, and actually changed her whole way of teaching and became like a kind of a leader in the Orff movement in her little town, and ended her career on a high note. So I was glad about that. But anyway, I met a professor at Indiana who literally changed my life. And she was my mentor for undergrad and graduate school. Her name was Dr. Jean Sinor, and she was one of the early adapters of the Kodai method from Hungary to United States. And she taught me what elementary music could be. She showed me that. And I became like her protege. I absorbed everything I could from her, both with choral music, with elementary choir. I studied with Mary Getze from Indiana. She taught me all about children's choir. We were lucky that in the 80s, Bloomington had a cadre of really high quality, internationally known music educators. And I was really lucky to be in Bloomington at that time when all of those teachers happened to be there. That was like a perfect storm of music educators at that time. And I don't know that it will ever be, I don't know that any place will ever be that magical again, but I was privy to that training, and I will forever be grateful. But anyway, short story made a little longer. She was my inspiration to be an elementary specialist, and so I'll be forever grateful to her. She died actually at the age of 52. It was very tragic, but
Oh my God.
I have her materials. I have her method, and I wish I had her talent, but she was really the most special person to me. So yeah, she was my inspiration. So when I teach teachers, I try to, that phrase WWJD, the bracelet that people used to wear.
Yeah.
I always joke that I always say it's what would Jean do, because her name was Jean Sinor. So WWJD, I always think, what would Jean do in that pedagogical situation? So yeah, that's my story for elementary. And then when I went to the high school, I was able to kind of build on the skills that, excuse me, I hoped to anyway, build on the skills that the kids had learned in elementary and middle school and continue that in the high school. So there are really strong Kodai programs out there in secondary and even post-secondary schools. So anyway.
When you say Kodai, what does that mean? I've never heard that term.
That's a good question. I toss that around a lot. Basically, what I did at Orchard Park in terms of singing in solfege, reading in solfege, like sol, la, sol, mi, do,
Oh
all that,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
and signs and all that stuff. Reading from the staff, all of that is part of a Kodai kind of concept of Kodai philosophy of teaching. All of the singing games we did, the dances, the play parties that we did, that's all part of singing, playing, moving, creating.
Mm-hmm.
It's all it's very much a child-centered way of looking at teaching music. It's a kind of a discovery method of
Okay.
teaching music. You don't realize it as it's happening to you, but that's what's happening.
No,
It's part of the grand plan.
no, I vividly recall those exercises in
Yeah.
class, and I think about my dad immediately, who was a singer, musician in
Oh,
Indianapolis
yeah.
for a long time.
And he
Um,
was, I assume that
yeah,
he served as kind of your mentor.
certainly, yeah, in everything.
Yeah.
I used to joke. Mom wrote it, I think, in her book. That I used to say as a young man, like in kindergarten, I'm part of the Bob and Tom band. Like
Oh,
music was part of my life from
I
the early
know
going.
that.
Yeah.
I remember Jimmy. Oh my gosh, I have so many cute memories of you, but um, you would come in, you would be so proud, just beaming. You'd have a picture of your dad or you and your dad singing, and you'd show it to me. You'd be so proud.
Yeah.
Gosh, you were such a cutie, Jimmy. What happened? Nothing.
That's right. It's all downhill from here. That's
Yeah.
right.
Isn't it up for all of us, Jimmy?
You want me to age myself? I'm gonna be 30 in September.
Oh my gosh.
Man, I can't believe how old I'm
I
getting.
can't believe, you know what that makes me feel like, right?
Well, I mean, just to give me an idea of how you were feeling at that time, how old were you? How old would you have been as my teacher? If you don't mind
Uh,
me asking.
let's
Sorry.
see. Um, so I had you in kindergarten, so you would have been what, 5?
4 or
So that
5.
would have
Yeah.
been 25 years ago. Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Yeah.
So
Man. Well, and see, I think about this too, and I'm going to give her another shout out. I always do when I refer back to my elementary education at Orchard Park. I had Miss Parent for first and second grade, and
uh-huh.
she taught me, how to read, how to do basic math.
Yeah.
Um, and she's my age. When I think about the fact that she started at around my age,
Isn't
early
that
20s,
amazing? You
that
thought
that
she was
had to that
so
couldn't have been
smart.
easy. Couldn't have been easy to teach us. So um, let
Oh,
me
yeah.
get.
So I would have been, let's see, let's do the math. 25 years ago, let's say I'm 60, round it off.
Okay. Okay.
We'll round it off. So 60 minus 25,
Yeah.
5. Not seem, wait a minute. So I would have been 36 years old.
Okay. Man. See, I just think
Yeah.
about now that I'm growing up, what you would have thought at that time. Because
Yeah.
to show up and take care of a classroom of kids and have the trust of the parents too, because I mean it's a different
Oh, yeah,
experience going to school than it was 20 years ago.
absolutely.
Certainly now.
Yeah. And
um Go ahead, I'm sorry.
go ahead. It's your podcast.
um I was going to ask you, when you think back to your mentor, the person that helped you, uh
Mhm.
what qualities make up a good music teacher?
Ah, good question. Well, I think I think the same qualities as would make up any good teacher. First and foremost, you have to be flexible. Um, and you have to be able to have your, you have to have your goal in mind for the class,
Mhm.
your goals, plural, in mind for your lesson.
Mhm.
But you have to be able to not be so rigid that you can't kind of read the room
Mhm.
and see what the needs of your students are nowadays more than ever, and kind of take the temperature of your students at every given moment. And if an activity isn't working, you need to be flexible enough and open enough to and have enough materials in your back pocket to switch materials that still maybe accomplish the same behavioral objective or learning objective in your plan. And what I find with new teachers and with student teachers that I supervise is that they, they're new and they're young, so they don't have enough materials in their arsenal. They don't have enough tools in their toolbox, so to speak, to make up for if something doesn't go right. And so if something isn't going right, they just plow ahead with it, hoping it will correct itself. And it just keeps going downhill, downhill. Then they have behavioral problems. Then they lose it and it's gone forever. The lesson is, and so you have to be flexible. You have to have a loving heart for what you do and for the students that you serve. All the knowledge in the world, all the enthusiasm for your content, for your subject matter in the world is not going to make you a good teacher. You have to do it out of love for your subject and, even more important, love for the students that you teach. We're not in this for the money, obviously, and we certainly aren't in it for the glory or the fame, because teachers get put down at every turn. The only time we didn't get put down was during COVID, and then suddenly we were all heroes.
Right.
And then right after COVID, we were back to our, the bottom of the dirt on the bottom of everybody's shoe. So
yeah, no.
Anyway, you have to have a loving heart. You have to love what you do. And you have to, and this is where we call it culturally responsive teaching comes in. You have to have examined your own biases in terms of culture and kind of social, your own historical and cultural biases, in order to be open to have connection with your students' cultures. And the reason I was so happy at Orchard Park was that we had such beautiful diversity there. And I was so sad to see it go, because I felt like Orchard Park was our little pocket of, I don't know, rainbow, the rainbow in Carmel. I thought it was almost a laboratory of goodwill. I don't know, I always felt that way. And I don't know, I hate to see it go. But anyway, I digress. I think you have to know your subject matter. The Kodai philosophy says you have to have a well-trained ear, a well-trained eye, a well-trained hand, and a well-trained heart to be a good music teacher. So all of those things. A well-trained eye, so you have to see. A well-trained ear, you have to be you have to be able to be a good listener and a good musician. You have to have a well-trained hand. You have to be good at your instrument, whatever it is, or a singer. A well-trained mind. You have to be an intelligent person, and you have to have a well-trained heart. That is, you have to have a heart for your students and a heart for the music.
What were your parents' jobs?
My dad worked at General Motors. He worked in the factory, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. Later on, she worked at Sears in the catalog store. So they were both blue-collar workers.
Did they get to see some of your success as a teacher? How did they feel about that?
That is a loaded question.
Yeah.
My parents were unusual. I was the last of four. I was the only musical one in the family, the only one that put myself out there in any way publicly. My family is very shy, kind of backward socially. I'm the only one that was like out there.
Okay.
And so my parents were hesitant to they were afraid that I would embarrass myself or embarrass the family anytime I performed. So they didn't come to many of my, even as a child, many of my performances or recitals or my senior recital at college or any of my programs as a teacher, any of my concerts. No.
Wow.
They didn't really know what I did
Oh, well,
for a living.
I'm sorry that was the case.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You know, I grew up thinking that everybody was like that nobody's parents came to anything. And then when I became a teacher and had a program and all these parents showed up, I was like, is this the way it is?
Yeah.
And then I realized, okay, my childhood was different. I think looking back, you know, I understand where they were coming from. If there's anything to forgive, you know, I forgive them. They're both gone now. And I think they were proud of me in their own way. I know they were.
Yeah, I know
It's
they are
just,
too.
oh yeah. And I'm fine. Really.
Okay.
I
All
haven't
right.
been damaged at all. No, it's fine. I think it's kind of made me the person that I am. Kind of independent and yeah.
Well, I want to ask you about some specific singers and just kind of your thoughts on them.
Okay.
Because there are a few artists that seem to be taking up a lot of oxygen in the music scene. Taylor Swift. How do you feel about Taylor Swift?
Oh, I think she's great. If you're asking me about specific vocal quality and all that, I mean, I'm not a vocal pedagogue. I know what I like in music. I know what I like to listen to. I don't particularly listen to her songs, but I think she's a great mover and shaker. I think she's smart, and I like her as a person a lot.
Well, and
I
you know,
don't know her music that well, but I like her.
she's got the NFL connection right now. You know, that's pretty smart to be dating Travis Kelce.
And she scares Republicans to death, which
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah.
Oh, Taylor. I mean, if a little blonde girl can make grown men shake in their shoes, I say
Really.
go for it.
Another one that gets under conservatives' nerves is Beyonce. How do we feel about Beyonce?
God. Um, Again, same thing. I don't know her music that well. I like watching her videos, and I think, you know, go girl. I think she's great. I love her.
Okay, very good. And then one other one that seems to be pretty popular, had a father in the business before she got in, Miley Cyrus.
Again, same.
Yeah.
I think Miley's great. Her voice is, on some things it's pretty grating to me, but in others I don't mind it. But yeah, I think go Miley. I think she's fine.
Okay.
She's great. I don't know about, you know, if I had a little girl, would she be a role model? Who cares? Who cares? You know,
Don't
she's a pop singer.
yeah.
Hey,
Don't show Wrecking Ball until they're older. That's that's what you hold off
no, it's I wouldn't show it in my elementary music class.
on.
That's not what it's meant for, you know.
No. No.
Wait till they're older, they can do that on their own.
You are teaching at the college level now. How's that experience been so far?
Oh, I love it. I've always taught, well, not always, for the past 12 years or so, I've taught college in the summers at Indiana University and a couple of years at Loyola. And I have enjoyed it very much, and I've taught, but I've only taught Kodai methods for Kodai certification courses for teachers. Now I'm teaching just straight up college classes in music education and music. So it's a lot of fun. Hey, Jimmy, can you excuse me for 1 second? It says I have low battery, even though I
Sure,
know I plugged it in overnight.
sure.
Maybe the cat's like, you know,
It's a
scurry.
warning. I don't want you to shut off.
I
So
know, I
we'll
don't
take a
either.
break.
So can you take like a two
We can take a
second?
break. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
hold on just a second.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
We're
I'm
back.
back.
We're plugged in. We got the
Plugged
juice.
in and back, yeah.
All right. You are now teaching at the college level. We were talking about your experience, and it's going well so far. That's what you
Oh
said.
yeah, I really love it. Um, yeah, I've never taught undergrads before. So these kids are just great, 18 years old, first day of college. Um, they're just so sweet and so open to learning and so scared and just I remember what it was like my first day of college and gosh, so it is almost like teaching high school, only the academic rigor is much more. But this particular university is small, and we really do care about each and every student. And there are a lot of programs here to address different populations that we have here in northern Minnesota, particularly first generation students and kids who are the first to go to college in their families. Like that would have been me. My siblings all went to college, but my parents didn't. So if your parents didn't go to college, you qualify for certain programs.
Sure.
We have a lot of Native Americans in the area. We are surrounded by several reservations. So that has been a real learning experience for me. I've really gotten into Native American cultures and what does living on a reservation look like, and what does that do to a student's outlook and self-worth, and what does that look like in school performance and academic achievement. It's a really interesting area. Bemidji is. It's right near the Canadian border. And it's called the first city because it's the first city where the Mississippi River starts. So it's a cool little town, and it's a wonderful university. We have really strong professors here in the in the music department. So it's a fun place to teach. I'm really happy here.
Have you ever visited Canada with it being so close?
Yeah, I have in the past, but not since I've been here.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me see. Favorite TV shows when you have time to watch.
I've really been into Monk lately. I know I'm
Oh,
late
okay.
to the party on that. But my husband and I have been on this Monk kick, and um, we really I've breezed through that series twice, I think. Just I love it. I love my Project Runway. I love my Absolutely Fabulous from Britain. Let's see. I love anything true crime.
There you go. Okay.
I'm
Awesome.
very well versed on my serial killers. Ask me anything. It's it's a hidden talent of mine. Yeah, I watch a lot of documentaries on anything and everything.
Are you a fan of the movie School of Rock?
Yes,
Okay. I
I
did
love
that's one of the classics that I always refer back to when it comes to like music movies. I didn't know if there was any
it. Oh
ones
yeah.
that were kind of music oriented that you like, you know.
Um, I can't watch, I can't watch movies like Mr. Holland's Opus. Everybody says, "Oh, I bet you love Mr. Holland's." No, I can't watch it. I know better. The older I get, I can't watch certain movies that I know will devastate me.
That's true. Yeah. I ended up taking American Sign Language while I went to Carmel, and
Oh yeah?
that was one of the movies we watched was Mr. Holland's Opus and his son. The
No.
Beautiful Boy song. I mean, that'll make you cry right there.
No.
So,
No. I can't watch the movie with Meryl Streep about she's the violin teacher and she has I don't know, she teaches um kid, kids in Harlem how to play violin. I don't know what it is. Can't watch that one either. I watch enough real life
yeah.
um people in poverty trying to learn music and I see enough of that in real life. It tugs at my heart and I can't I can't do that to myself. I'm too old. My heart is too tender now. I can't. I'm like an
Um,
old grandma.
Another movie that I've always enjoyed because I used to watch it a lot with my dad, The Blues Brothers, best musical of all time. If
I've
you,
never seen it.
oh, all right, come on now, you gotta watch that now. That's gonna be on the list. It's gotta be on
Okay.
your Netflix
All right,
list.
Jimmy.
Yeah,
I've heard it. I've heard it from the man. I have to watch it.
just for Bob's Country Bunker and the fact that that's in Kokomo,
Oh,
fictionally,
really?
So yeah.
I've only been to Kokomo once, so it's not a place I pass by and
Yeah.
will now pass by and say, "Oh yeah, I know that place."
That ain't no Hank Williams song. So my goodness. Let's see, what else do we got? What everybody's got a different playlist. What are some artists that we would find in your Spotify or
Oh, easy. Joni Mitchell, Joan Baez,
okay.
Alison Krauss and Union Station, Alison Krauss and Robert Plant. Um, okay, those are Eva Cassidy. Those are my favorite kind of folksy female singers. And then for males, my favorites are James Taylor,
Okay.
Cat Stevens, or Yusuf Islam. I like Rufus Wainwright.
Hmm.
I like Bob Dylan's older stuff when I'm in the mood,
Okay.
when
That's
I'm
fair.
feeling nostalgic. And then I like a lot of like jazz fusion type music. I like Yes. I like we saw Yes in concert actually.
Wow.
And it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Steely Dan, I like.
Okay. Yeah, I dig that.
Those are Yes and Steely Dan are on my playlist mostly
Okay.
for that kind of music. And then see, my tastes are really eclectic. And then I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. If I'm
Okay.
in the mood for
There you go.
funk, they're
Awesome.
they're my go-tos. I know
Okay.
the best live concert I've ever seen in my life was Earth, Wind, and Fire. I believe it was 1984, 3 or 4,
Okay. Yeah.
Market Square Arena.
Man, what a show. Did they have anybody famous open for them? I mean, what was the full bill?
No, no, it was all them for like 3.5 hours.
Wow, man,
It
I'm
was,
jealous of you.
it was the best concert I've ever seen.
Um, Santana was just here at Ruoff. So
Yeah.
I wish I
Did
could
you
have seen
go?
him recently. I couldn't afford the tickets, and it's you find live concerts on YouTube that are pretty close.
Santana, I like Santana. I don't know if I would pay to see a whole concert of Santana, to be honest, but I do like Santana.
Yeah, no, Chooch always used Smooth as one of his covers
Yeah,
back in the day. So
Smooth is
big
a
fan of
great
that.
song.
Um, I know you said that you studied piano originally.
Mhm.
Are you still playing? You still creating something?
Yeah, I am. I'm not, I'm not, it was a long time ago that I played for real, but I have gotten back into it. I was not playing for a long time. And then my husband bought me a baby grand piano for my birthday
Hey,
several years ago, and
yeah.
that kind of jolted me into getting back into playing a little more seriously. And now I'm actually on the accompaniment faculty here, so I do have to keep up my playing here a little bit more.
Um, Something I know helped Dad. Even when he wasn't performing in a gig setting, I think singing and participating in music healed him to some degree. Are there any instances where music has healed you or made you feel better?
Oh, on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I had a pretty serious accident in what year was it? I was teaching at Carmel High School, and really messed up my face and my hand, and um, I was hit by a drunk driver, and
Oh my gosh.
had to have multiple surgeries on my face and on my hand, and had a lot of post-concussive issues with my memory and my brain. And anyway, I had suffered a traumatic brain injury.
Okay.
And it was pretty life-changing. Anyway, I can say with certainty that music got me out of that. Both music and teaching got me out of that. I probably went back to teaching too soon after my accident, but the the daily the daily necessity of having to think sequentially helped my brain, and the therapy of the familiarity of music is what I think helped heal my brain.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, Best compliment you've received as a teacher?
Best compliment. That's a that's a tricky question because I received some sweet compliments from little kids that, you know, are sweet and meant a lot, but probably um I've gotten some notes from high school kids that meant a lot that I won't share. But I think the most important one I ever got was that I saved someone's life by allowing that person to talk to me about issues that she felt like she couldn't talk to anyone else about at that time.
Okay.
I was always, I felt like, and I wanted to be open to students who might not have a voice and who might not have anywhere else to turn for issues that they might need to discuss, and or issues that might be bothering them at school. And this person said she was thinking about killing herself.
Hmm.
So that, I mean, that got really heavy really fast. But I think teachers they are tasked with being more than just purveyors of information. And it's you make connections with students, and you gain their trust, and it's a heavy burden, and it is a blessing and a privilege that you just can't take lightly. And when you earn the trust of someone, you have to carry that burden,
I'll be the first to tell you, being a teacher is one of the few real jobs in the world. A policeman, fireman, teacher, military. At the end of the day, those are the real jobs that we
Well,
need at the end of the day.
that's
It's
nice.
have you ever? I'm sorry if we've covered this already. I don't think we have. Have you had a student that you've had before eventually become a teacher? I mean, have you had that happen?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and become a music teacher. In fact,
Awesome. Yeah.
when I was teaching at IU, I had one of my former students happen. It's happened several times. One of my former students was in my Kodai training class. Yes,
Great.
I had a former elementary student in there, and I had a former high school student in there. Yeah,
Awesome.
it's happened. Full
Well,
circle moment. Yeah.
something great. Because when I think back about my education, you don't realize how awesome Carmel Clay Schools are and how lucky we are to have such opportunities. But
Absolutely.
one thing that I can remember you talking about, uh, and it made me kind of question that folks can have different talents. I think Jesse Hollander was somebody that played
Yeah,
football.
I remember Jesse.
And I remember you saying that he had a good singing voice, and Jesse was
Oh
just
yeah.
one of these burly football players, and not that you pigeonhole them into being a jock or whatever, but to hear that Jesse could sing, I'm like, okay, music brings out different things
Yeah.
in people, right?
If you recall, Jesse was one of the leads in The Music Man.
Yeah,
Remember when we did The Music Man?
I do. Yeah.
One of the leads in that, in the train station, yeah, the train scene. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I'd forgotten. Yeah, he was what happened to Jesse? What's he
Um,
doing?
well, he lived in my neighborhood, the Home Place neighborhood, right
Oh yeah,
by Orchard
yeah.
Park.
Uh-huh.
And he is now, or at least last time I checked, he is a football coach at Carmel and a teacher.
He,
Yeah,
at Carmel?
yeah, yeah. He ended up staying there,
Oh my
so
gosh.
that's awesome.
How
Yeah.
long has he been doing that?
Um, he's been on the varsity staff for several years, so I mean, and no better person than to be on the
Oh
coaching staff
yeah,
than Jesse.
that's
So
amazing.
yeah.
Oh, I'm so proud of him. Yeah, he was I really enjoyed Jesse. He was great.
Um, I worry about AI quite a bit with
Do you?
how they could steal an artist's likeness. And I mean, how do you
That.
feel about AI and kind of where music is now?
You know, we went through this whole thing before with, we kind of go through this whole scare thing anytime new technology comes out. If I recall, we went through a similar fright with the internet.
Yeah.
And then downloading music, and I forget what all the old downloading music programs were, but artists were afraid then. And I think AI is, in terms of education, AI is like anything. It can be used for good or it can be used for evil. When the internet came out, I remember teachers were all up in arms about, students are going to use it for cheating. It's, we have to ban it. And the internet was banned in classrooms all over the US because students were going to use it in bad ways. And, and then teachers woke up and they said, wait a minute, this is here to stay. We need to learn how to teach in the presence of the internet. We need to learn how to use the internet for good. We need to use it in our classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
We need to learn how to teach, excuse me, with the internet. So teachers and musicians and artists learned how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the same thing happened when video came out.
Yeah.
When videos came out, remember? Oh, nobody's going to be buying CDs anymore, or buying tapes anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's, and then CDs. Oh my gosh. So I think the same thing is going to happen with AI. After the initial, oh my gosh, stealing, I think artists, and they already have, will learn how to live with it and work with it and use it for their own good. Yes, there will be people who use it to steal people's identities and stuff. And we'll just have to be able to create ways of preventing that. And I don't think we've we haven't done that yet successfully. So right now it's kind of running rampant. But I think we will discover ways to tamp it down, and we will learn to live comfortably with AI, just like we did with anything else. In education, of course, nefariously, people are using it to write essays and write their papers and blah, blah, blah. Well, now there are ways that we can detect that. I can highlight a student's paragraph, stick it into a program, and it will tell me what percentage of this was most likely written with AI, and why. They can tell. And then, you can't with a 100% accuracy accuse a student of cheating, but you can have a discussion with that student and say, if you are using ChatGPT or another AI writing program, here are some responsible ways to use it.
Okay.
Can't accuse them of using it, but you can say, let's use it responsibly.
Very superstitious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it a coincidence that, you can't conjugate a verb, but yet your writing looks like it belongs in a professional journal?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, anyway, I think people are doing some weird things with it now, but simmer down. Thank you.
Go to karaoke song if we did karaoke somewhere.
My go-to karaoke song, I've given up trying to sing karaoke and sound good. I've decided people just want to dance. So just pick a song that people can dance to. Yeah. And so I'd probably pick a disco song or something.
Yeah,
I know I'm not going to sound good on it, so who cares?
I got a few different ones for me.
What's
Uh,
that?
I love Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's one of my favorite people.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to do like Pride and Joy, or
Okay.
something different that than the popular stuff.
You'd be good at that.
Let's see. Is there a song that makes you cry or evokes some kind of emotion?
Oh, gosh. It depends on what genre. I cannot listen to a certain Disney song without crying, and that's Baby Mine from Dumbo.
Oh, yeah.
Cannot. Oh, I can't even watch Dumbo. I can't watch any Disney movie actually that has any death in it at all, but that's a whole different story. But I can't listen to Baby Mine. Unexpected Song from Broadway makes me
Okay.
cry.
All right.
And then several Joni Mitchell songs make me cry. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I can't name all. A lot of both sides now usually makes me cry.
Okay. Um, Purple Rain for me makes me cry.
Oh, really?
Well, it brings back a very strong memory for me,
Okay,
being that
that'll do it.
Prince played the Super Bowl halftime show when the Colts won,
Oh,
and he played
yeah.
"Purple Rain" in the rain. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
that proves that God's a Prince fan. If you needed
That's
any more proof,
right.
right there. Um,
Yes. Oh, yeah. You would love Paisley Park then. Yeah.
yeah, and also, since my dad did a cover of it, "You've Got a Friend in Me" by Randy Newman from Toy Story. That always
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
makes me cry because it
Speaking
makes
of
me think of.
Toy Story 2, what is the song that the little girl doll sings? That one makes me
Oh
cry.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I can't think of it, but yeah.
A guy. I'm so glad we brought up Pixar because I want to mention this too. A person you'll remember, Vibe of Bobby Lala.
Oh, yeah.
He worked for Pixar for a while. He
Really?
was like a consultant on a few of the projects from a couple years ago.
How
But yeah,
exciting.
that's awesome. I mean,
Oh,
all the people
that's
that have gone on to do amazing things.
Oh,
I mean,
I would
it's
love to
great.
know more. I just, I have no way of keeping in touch with you guys. It's
Yeah.
so exciting.
He was actually, if you go into the list of the podcast, he was one of the episodes. I interviewed him
Oh,
about his
really?
experience. Yeah.
I will have to look at the list, Jimmy, for sure.
We went to a Pacer game recently, and one of the best guys I know, Vibe. So I love him.
So the two of you went?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's a
Oh,
big sports fan, and he's like, "Let's go, Jim." So that was cool to catch up with
oh,
Vibe.
that's so cool.
Um, I'm only mentioning this because you've said it in writing to me before we did the show. Do you have any pet peeves with singing that folks do?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I have two. I only mentioned one to you. One of them is little girls who try to sing opera,
Okay. All right.
like on America's Got Talent.
You want the fat lady singing. You want the mature lady there.
I want someone who's over the age of 25 singing
That's
opera.
fair.
Um, don't even get me started on what it does to their little voices and how their voices are going to be ruined by the time they're 20.
Hmm.
My other pet peeve is cursive singing. And I didn't even know what that term was until I looked it up.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what would be an example of cursive singing? Do you have a song in mind or something specific?
Oh, I wish I did. I should have had an example ready. Anything Halsey does is usually cursive singing.
Okay, yeah.
Um, what's that song? Well, some of Adele is cursive singing, but a lot of hers is just her accent. It's when they, it's when they, it's when it's some people call it indie singing. like indie artists. It's when they don't pronounce the word properly and it's almost like a new dialect. There's a song that says it has the words dance, dance, dance. And instead they go dice, dice, dice,
I
dice,
gotcha.
dice, dice. It's like, uh, um,
It's beyond auto tune. It's like, yeah,
yeah, it's always like,
yeah.
um,
So Britney Spears in her heyday would be
kind
another.
of, but it's more a pronouncing. It's how you pronounce something, not the timbre of your voice.
Okay.
It's, oh gosh, I wish I had a good example. One YouTuber guy was making fun of it, and he was like, I have some avocados on some banana and some onion
Right.
and some cherries. You know,
Yeah.
they stretch out and the ending of a word, but they don't put the ending on, and it's just gross and weird. I don't get it. Instead of good, they say good.
Right. It almost sounds like Dana Carvey and his chopping
Yeah,
broccoli thing, you know?
yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Chopping broccoli. Yeah. It's like,
There are a bunch of people listening to us.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Chopping broccoli. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That whole thing.
Yeah, it's called cursive singing.
All
And
right.
why it's popular, I will never know. It's like you have an accent from the Netherlands or something, but you don't. You're American. Like, what are you
Um,
doing? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Wait,
I want
it's
to
a
go
strange
out of
time.
style as fast as it can.
It's we're in a strange timeline
Yeah,
in
very
2024.
strange. Very
um, let's see. Favorite sound.
favorite sound. My cat's purring.
Good. That's awesome. Sound you hate.
Um, my alarm clock.
That's a great answer. That's the first of its kind with that one. Um, best advice you received.
Um, oh, best advice I've received.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, best advice I've received. I don't know, probably, I don't know, so many good things. I'll have to say, love yourself.
Hmm.
That's a hard one for me, but I'll have to say that.
I've been working on that. It's hard to do
Yeah,
sometimes.
I try to say that to other people, but it's hard to do it for yourself.
You do a lot of cooking at home too?
Yeah, I love cooking.
What are some of your specialties that you make?
Um, I make a really good Tuscan chicken dish with
Okay.
sun-dried tomatoes and spinach. And I love to make spaghetti and meatballs, homemade meatballs.
Very good.
I anything Italian, I love. I make homemade pasta sometimes. Um, not all the time when I'm in the mood. I love baking. After I stopped teaching, I worked for a year at a restaurant and a bakery. And I was the cookie maker, the pasta maker. I made scones and all kinds of stuff. So I really learned a lot working there. And so I tried to implement a lot at home that I learned at the restaurant. So yeah, I love to cook, love to bake.
Um, and then what's your favorite restaurant, thinking back to Indianapolis, that you'd like to have again?
Oh, so many great places to eat in Indianapolis. We liked Salt on Mass Ave. So many, gosh, so many restaurants have come and gone in Indianapolis since I've been there. I loved Mimi's Meatballs and it's gone
Yeah.
now on Mass. Sakura was my favorite Japanese restaurant in Indy. I hope it's still there. It was on Michigan, I believe. Let's see. My favorite Indian was the one on Lafayette Road. I think it was India Palace. Great Indian food. I don't know. I had a favorite for every ethnic
Okay. Yeah.
specialty.
Well, the reason I ask, whichever one you want, if you come back into town, I hope we arrange a time that we can have lunch together. I hope we can
Oh,
do that.
I would love that, Jimmy. That would
Yeah.
be fantastic.
Let me say also to you, as somebody that I grew up with, somebody that saw me as a very young man, somebody that saw me more sometimes than my parents in a given day. Um, Thank you for being my teacher and for being an encouraging energy during my education, because it did
Aw,
make a difference to me.
thank you so
So
much, Jimmy. Can I say back to you that you were always the carrier of sunshine and joy. Every time,
thanks.
every time I saw you, you were just a bundle of sunshine. And I will always remember you for that. Always positive, no matter what you were going through physically or uh, usually physically. I mean,
Yeah,
just you went through a lot as a kid and
I did.
you were just nothing but positive, and we just all loved Jimmy. It was
I'm hard to hate. Let's be real.
everybody, everybody loved Jimmy, and apparently they still do because
Yeah. Yeah,
everybody wants to be on your podcast.
without a doubt, including this one. We'll end on this. Did you ever see my dad play in his band? Did you
I
make it over?
didn't.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I did not.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
but I wish I had.
I know that he loved Orchard Park for me as a father, and he would have liked you as a music teacher. So
I'm
again,
sure.
thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. It was my pleasure.
All right, folks, to check out this episode and all others, make your way over to at JBK on air on all social media platforms, linktree.com/JBK on air for all things related to the show. And if you want to sustain future episodes, you can donate to the program with the link in the description. Until next time, have a great day and a better tomorrow.